Hello, everyone. Today, I would be talking about something more phenomenal. 18th, we had the new moon blur, and now comes the great unfogging. So, the new moon had fogged us out, the energies, but now, when Mercury goes direct in Pisces itself, you will experience the great unfogging of the mind. It's like from the new moon blur to a clear shore. Think back to the new moon we just had. If that new moon in Pisces felt like a heavy sea mist rolling in, where you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, that was by design. God actually, or the universal energies, wanted you all to be only in the present, not thinking about the past or the expectations about the future. So the new moons were for planting seeds in the dark, but in Pisces, it often feels like being lost in a dream where logic doesn't apply. So it was the peak of the fog. But now here is the shift. If the new moon was the fogging, Mercury going direct, now on March 20th, 2026, is going to be the unfogging. Because Mercury is a mental compass. While it was retrograde, your compass was spinning in circles. Today, the mist burns off. That is on the March 20th, the mist burns off, and you can finally see exactly where you have planted those seeds and which ones are actually worth watering and nurturing. Now, along with the Mercury direct, you must also understand that there are cosmic roommates in the same sign of Pisces, which is Saturn and Neptune too. So Mercury is not now traveling alone. It's sharing the sign with two heavyweights, that is Saturn with Neptune. Neptune, which is the dreamer. Now, this is Neptune's home turf. So it amplifies our imagination and spiritual longing, but it can also make reality feel a bit slippery. Whereas Saturn, which is the architect, it brings the reality check. It's here to ask, okay, that's a beautiful dream, but how do we actually build it? So, as Mercury stations direct, it acts as a translator between these two. It takes Neptune's vague vibes and Saturn's strict rules and turns them into reality, into a conversation that you can actually decipher and understand. This interaction helps you bridge the gap between I wish and I will. See, initially you were wishing you wanted to do this, how you could do this, but now when Mercury turns direct, you exactly get the clarity that I will do it, and this is how I will do it. So basically, it's like the implications are now from the static to flow. During the retrograde, communication likely felt stagnant, like a radio stuck between the stations. Now that static clears, and you will find that misunderstandings are actually resolving. Conversations that felt stuck or confusing since late February suddenly start moving forward. The aha moment. Information that was hidden in the fog surfaces, clarity is gained, and often through a dream or a gut feeling, you will finally feel now this is reliable and this is how I am going to follow it up. The structure, old structure starts to dissolve. So, with Saturn and Neptune working together, old rigid ways of thinking are being washed away to make room for more authentic versions of yourself and the way you want it. So, it's also a time of manifestations, I would say, that since you've made up your willpower to do a thing and to carry things forward the way you want, so you are manifesting and creating your own prophecies. Now, like I always said in astrology, it's not about predictions. Predictions are for people who don't have a plan, but a human mind is capable of creating his own prophecies. You only need to take these guidelines and do the correct things at the correct time, and you create opportunities for yourself. So there's collective energy that is building up. So making this moment a very powerful moment where you will be building the new era of your life. On a collective level, we are embracing a practical idealism. The world is shifting from purely logical or purely spiritual extremes into a middle ground where we value our emotional intelligence as much as the data that we get. We are being asked to take responsibility for our shared dreams. It's no longer enough to just hope for a better world. The collective energy is pushing us to use this clear headed Mercury to structure those hopes into real, compassionate action. Now, how do you embrace the shift? Well, my first thing is trust the gut. Trust your gut, trust that sixth sense, trust what your heart is prompting you, and verify the math. Use your intuition you found in the fog, but now that Mercury is direct, you can finally double check the details. Remember the seeds that I asked you to sow in the dark. Speak softly, but articulate your words and speak clearly. Pisces energy is very subtle. You don't need to shout to be heard. You just need to be honest, firm, and deliberate on your words. So clean up the mess. If you sent a snappy text or missed a deadline while lost in the mist, today is the day for a soft apology. And trust me, it will give you great happiness and satisfaction. So, my final thoughts are that Mercury direct in Pisces reminds us that we don't need a GPS. Sometimes we just needed to wait for the tide to turn. Now the tide has turned or will be turning on the 20th, 21st. You can stop treading water. It's time to swim forward. Since March 20th also marks the spring equinox and the start of Aries season, we are standing at a massive energetic crossroads. We've got the deep, watery unfogging of Pisces meeting the fiery, let's go energy of Aries. So here's how the Saturn, Neptune, Mercury trio is specifically retooling your career and long term goals as the lights are turning back on. So turning that pipe dream into a fantastic blueprint. That is your career. With Neptune in the mix, you'll likely have had some big, blurry, what if ideas about your career over the last few weeks. So maybe you dreamt of quitting your job to paint or start a business that actually helps people and gives you immense personal satisfaction. Now that Mercury is direct, the fog clears. Saturn steps in like a very stern disciplinarian, but a loving mentor. It stops being a someday dream and starts being a Monday plan. So the impact is you'll stop feeling guilty for wanting something unrealistic and you will start seeing the logical steps of how to achieve those dreams of yours. Now, what you need to embrace is look at your career goals today. Which one feels like it has a soul because Neptune is involved, so you need to do something which gives you satisfaction? But it also needs structure. That is what the Saturn prompts. And what is Mercury telling you? That this is where you need to put your energy. So the clarity you will get in your mind. This is basically the busyness is no more. It's like putting an end, the death of the being busy without achieving anything. So for a long time, the collective goal was just more faster, more louder. But with Saturn and Neptune being together in Pisces, that old structure is dissolving. So the impact of this is you might find that goals you had 2 years ago, like a certain salary or a specific title, don't taste the same anymore. They feel empty. So you need to find your calling. So how do you embrace it? As Mercury is going to go direct now, don't be afraid to edit your ambitions. If a goal doesn't align with your peace of mind, Mercury direct gives you the clarity to let it go and let it go by surrendering realistically without a feeling like a failure. Don't feel like a failure when you allow things to go and seek the new chapters in your life. There is a rise of a quiet authority. Because this is happening in Pisces, the way we lead is changing. We are moving away from the boss who shouts and towards the leader who listens. So, what better way to become a leader of your life or an architect of your own fate and start right now? Your long term success now depends upon your integrity and your intuition. So, if you try to fake it and think that you will make it or use the old school manipulation, Saturn will make sure that you feel incredibly heavy. So, if you lead with empathy, Mercury will make the communication effortless and you're bound to achieve your dreams. So, how do you embrace these energies of the trio? In meetings or networking, listen more than you can speak this week or the following week. The unfogging will reveal who your true allies are. And since it's an Aries season, it means the ignition switch. So while Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune are doing the soul work in Pisces, the Sun entering Aries from 20th onwards provides the physical energy to move. So it's like an integration. Pisces gives you the vision, Aries gives you the courage to actually hit and send. The first 48 hours after Mercury goes direct are the sweet spots for launching something you've been quietly perfecting in the background or in the dark. Navigating life's transition through the lens of the planets can feel complex, but you don't have to do it alone. If you're looking for more clarity through and wanting to get personalized guidance to harness this cosmic energy and gain clarity or a clear direction for your unique journey, I welcome you to connect with me through my website. Together, we can translate these celestial shifts into actionable insights that bring clarity and purpose to your everyday life. So, till my next, always stay blessed and remember to tune in for what the month of April has in store for you. Always stay blessed.